Hi, and welcome to this sneak peek at the Encyclopedia for Supply Chain Management. We're doing this little overview because the tool is something unique in the marketplace, and we felt like in order to fully understand what it brings to the business community, an overview might be in order. So think of it as this tool is designed to help a supply chain professional to remember all of the intricate little details that are involved and come to bear on anything that happens across the supply chain, from source through make to delivery and even down to the end consumer at the end of the supply chain. And the best way to think of it is the encyclopedia is intended to and designed to create context for understanding and diagnosis and investigation and ultimately improvements. And so as you look at the encyclopedia, we first arranged it into the most common areas of context. Those ideas that have to do with logistics elements that relate to business leadership, a catalog of the various solution ideas that are out there in the marketplace today, and then the third primary one is to actually look at areas of the product life cycle or supply chain, if you will, for particular hot spots or focus areas for investigation and perhaps improvement. And then down the side, you'll see where you have access in the encyclopedia to the deeper dive of all those minute little details that the encyclopedia is managing for you. But if you wanted to look at them in a catalog fashion, you could jump straight into the leadership elements or into the supply chain elements and look at the details from that point of view. We'll see those in just a few minutes. First, I want to talk about then this context of business leadership, because this is where most of the people using the encyclopedia begin. So in here you'll find that we've created the most common areas that businesses are trying to improve or diagnose or understand that are connected to the supply chain. So you'll see the list here of those ones that come up over and over and over again. And as you choose one that might be of interest to you, we'll click on business analysis and planning. What you first get is at the top of the screen an explanation of what that area even is. So if we're saying the supply chain is going to help with business analysis and planning from a logistics point of view, what exactly does that mean? And so that's what the top of the screen is for. You can of course collapse it or show it depending on how you want to work. But below is where then this context starts to show up. So what you see is different tabs across the top bring the related information to your focus. So first you find a list of all of these business elements or leadership elements that are connected to, in this case, analysis and planning. And so what we're saying is one of the things that you should consider if you're going to do analysis and planning is the actual connection of logistics to the finance of the company. And so in here you'll find next to each one of these areas is the details information that changes or toggles based on whichever one has the focus in the list. So the encyclopedia, once again, is trying to create context, but to make it, bite-sized, so it's not overwhelming. And so over here to the right are different areas that display and collapse as you choose them, based on what you've selected over here. So it starts out with the top one chosen, but perhaps you might be interested in looking at one of the others and seeing what details that has. So perhaps we might look at compliance management, as that's related to business analysis. So it gives us a description of that. As well, if you wanted to see a deeper dive into one of these, you click on the link and it opens that up. We'll see that in just a minute as well. But there are also then a catalog list of supply chain elements that in this case relate to business analysis and planning. And once again, as one is selected in the list, it displays some details over here to the right on what exactly is going on with that element as it relates to this leadership area. And so as you click through and look at the different details that are related to it, it begins to bring meaning to that element as it relates to your business analysis and planning. As well in the encyclopedia, one of the things that we've tried to do is to catalog in the right place the solutions that are out there in the marketplace by the top-notch service providers as it relates to these different areas as well. So if you're trying to improve your business analysis and planning, there will be some different solution ideas that are available from the service providers in the encyclopedia that could begin to show you some ideas of how you might improve that. If you find one that you find particularly interesting, you might click on that one in the list and then it will open up then the details of that particular item. So this is the solution then of analytics via technology tools. The benefits, examples. Over here is the explanation once again, and then here's the part that really begins to pay off. If you're going to do something with this particular solution, the supply chain elements here then are those elements which are connected to this solution. So the idea here is that we're trying to help you stay aware of if you adjust something in one area of your business as it relates to your supply chain, you're going to have a carry-on effect to some other area in your supply chain because everything is connected. And this tool is meant to help you solve one problem without creating another problem. And so that's the context that we're talking about. So you have the business leadership areas, and if you find one in here, once again, maybe inventory optimization is something of interest. What does it mean? Here's the explanation. Then here are the different related items to consider or understand, in this case in terms of inventory optimization. At different places actually you'll begin to see this little dialogue icon as well. In the encyclopedia you're going to see places where you have the opportunity to open up questions, and that would be things to consider as you're looking at this area. So if you're thinking of how does the collaborations with the logistics department support or feed into inventory optimization, these would then be some of the things that you should ask yourself or consider to try to optimize that area. And then what we've try to put in is, as you look at all the different questions you might ask, you notice as I point to them, they kind of go active. Well, that's because we've tried to build in behind the questions possible answers, possible responses that might come up as you explore that question. And for each of these responses, we've also tried to build in then any follow-up questions that you might get. So you'll see that throughout the encyclopedia as well. Another way you might explore is using the Solutions Ideas feature. It's not really that complicated to understand the feature itself. The content is where the value is, but the way the system works is it's trying to pull in, once again, best practices from the current world of logistics for doing things that might help you in your business out in your part of the world. So in here you find the different offerings of the service providers that we partner with. And if something is of interest, you open it up, you'll see the details of what it is, the benefits of it, and then who are the providers that offer it. In this case, Accelerom is one of the companies that offers this Africa and Middle East logistics. Here's their contact information. And so from the contact information, you could reach out to them if the solution is something that you might be interested in taking a look at. The other primary way to explore is in what we call the product lifecycle feature. And this is intended to take those, once again, all those little details and pull them into context so that as you're trying to look at one particular area of your logistics model, perhaps the distribution phase, you can see the different elements that come to bear when you're working in the distribution area. In this case, so far, we're already up to 73 different detailed elements that are all part of managing the distribution phase of the product life cycle. The explanation is at the top for what in this case the distribution area is. The other thing I wanted to show though is you're going to find the search feature all over the place, and while this is not a navigation lesson, it is a features overview. And what I'd like to point out is that if you type something into the search area or the filter area, it then finds all of the entries that match that, which is another way to enhance your diagnosis or your exploration by choosing a certain area of focus even within one of these areas. So it lets you be a little more precise. In this case, we've identified 41 different entries that touch the concept of inventory in the distribution phase of the product life cycle. And then, as you might guess, some of these other tabs, pulling in context once again, these will be different solutions that are specifically targeted to doing something to enhance or improve the distribution phase. As you click on the icons to the right, it will then switch the details that show right here, so that you could get a quick insight into different information that exists in the encyclopedia, or if you wanted to look at the exact solution itself, you open it up, and in here then are the other details. The different menu systems down the side just simply take you straight into the full catalog of these items. So there's 197 supply chain elements already cataloged in the encyclopedia. There are 163 business leadership elements, like how to calculate your days your inventory is in holding, or your day sales are outstanding, or what is a balance sheet. All those things involved in logistics finance. Some things that have to do with just legal or contracts. What's an affiliate? What's arbitration? These are the things that are in the leadership element catalog. And once again, you could sort those. So maybe you want to see all of the elements that have to do with legal, so that you don't overlook something. So that's a quick overview of the intent or purpose of the encyclopedia. If you have more questions, please reach out, contact us. It's Cultivisor, and hopefully we'll be meeting you one of these days soon. Thanks. Take care.